the tendency to maybe leave the ball a little high and have some high throws every once in a while.
Sure.
What are some things that kind of cause that, and how do you address it as a quarterback coach?
Yeah, so it can be different, right? Some guys have just flaws in their throwing motion, So imagine a quarterback who's got kind of an up and down throwing motion. If you have an up and down throwing motion, then you're really relying on letting go of the football at the exact right moment. Let go too early while it's going up, the ball sails high. In theory, let go too late, you could pull the ball down. That is just not ideal, right? Just think of like a batter hitting a baseball. What we want with the arm is to kind of be through the throwing zone as long as possible. So there's no timing. If you let go early or you let go late, you're still keeping the ball on a level plane. Does that make sense? So let's eliminate, because this isn't Trey's issue, let's eliminate just a bad throwing motion from what causes a high miss. Take that off the table. The next thing you find then is it's really more of a lower body power issue, right? If you're generating consistent power and you kind of know the velocity you're going to get on the football, then you also know how far, like maybe your level one throw can go. Are we on the same page so far?
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm getting consistent power, I can continue to be really, really aggressive with my throws on a low trajectory and keep the ball down. When I'm inconsistent with my power, now it becomes a guessing game a little bit with, am I going to have enough power to drive that level one or 1.5? Or do I need to add trajectory to get the ball there? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things we focused on a lot in those 6 months of draft prep, Trey would have a little inconsistency in playing with his full cleat in the ground. And he's talked about this, and I think we talked about it last time I was on with you guys, where he'd be a little bit up on his toes. And, I remember Jack talking with you about going through progressions. I would be a little bit up and down as you work through progressions. And that would cause him to not always be perfectly stable as he made the throw. And due to that inconsistency, sometimes he'd be guessing on trajectory, right? One of the things and why we felt really good about him going into his pro days and kind of sending him off was he was playing a lot better, staying loaded, keeping his full cleat in the ground. So now you feel like you're getting more consistent power. Now the next coaching point is you have to stay aggressive with the throw. So Trey is one of those quarterbacks, everybody remarks about how the ball jumps out of his hand. That's his kind of superpower. So his goal needs to be to continue to stay aggressive every time he throws the football so that his best throw is what you're seeing. When he has a tendency to miss high, from what I've seen through the last 6 months when we work with him, it was him not being 100% fully confident in staying aggressive with the throw. So really what you're seeing is a good miss, if that makes sense.
Right.
It means that 98% of what he's doing is really good. Full cleat in the ground, generating great power, ball jumping out of his hand. He's just not trusting it, right? And he's adding more trajectory than he maybe needs on the throw. And it's something that, I was in his ear about Quincy is, like if Trey ever sees this, he's going to be like, oh yeah, we talked about that a ton, right? That's it. But it's also a product of, you're learning the offense. You're getting the relationship down with different receivers, kind of how deep they are on certain routes. And what I like is that the harder thing to fix is the mechanics of it. And the easier thing to fix is just his conviction in staying aggressive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So since his mechanics are really good, I think the more he feels comfortable going forward here over the next few weeks, I think you're just going to see him really just let it rip and continue to stay more aggressive.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what my thought was, is it's a product of a new scenario. Like he's the freshman coming to a new school and nobody knows him. And so he's trying to make an impression. It's your first practice. And obviously, people are going to overreact to every little thing. And they just spent a fortune to come get this kid. But it's going to take time. I mean, he's a human. He's got to get used to things and everything is new and different. So I think it's much ado about nothing, but I'm glad that you gave some clarification on that.